Hope you all are well. Hope you are having a great, blessed day. It's sunny here where I am, and grateful to be here making these videos. As you all know, that I'm a pretty deep thinker, and by now, after you've been following me on this channel for a while, seeing my journey, testimonies and such, I like to use my, deep thinking skills, because I know that I have some gifts in those areas, gifts of discernment, and I have gifts of dreams. I remember my dreams so well, and I have dreams warning me from future threats. I have that kind of gifts. But with the discernment, I like to deep think and put things into perspective on a lot of things, which helps me deeply on my walk with God and Christ. I like to really put myself in someone else's shoes and to grow. I had a whiteboard video. I plan on making a whiteboard video on this topic, but I feel like it would just be way better just to sit down and just talk it like this, because whiteboard videos are cool. This feels better doing this sometimes. But yeah, the title of the video was going to be how the spirit of lust takes you away from your childlike innocence and robs you of your joy and peace and love that God has meant to be in you and to store in you. And that was the title. Yeah, how the spirit of lust will take you from your childlike joy, because in the Bible it says you cannot see the kingdom of heaven again unless you become like little children. And since I read that verse, that made me think a lot, resonated me a lot. I'm like, okay, this makes so much sense. And being a young man, almost 25 years old, a lot of these things that the world pushes, and when people are alive, it's all about stuff of the flesh, the lust of the flesh, pride of life, as it says in the scriptures. It's so true everywhere. And what I like to do is I like to think about kids or people on their deathbed. And on your deathbed, what are you thinking about? You're not thinking about lust. You're not thinking about the time, how much money you made when you were 30 years old. You're not worried about that. And guess what? All that stuff, the world doesn't even matter. You can't take your riches into heaven. It's crazy. But it's good, because sometimes I watch some YouTube videos and I've seen people on their deathbed. It's so maybe they're in so much pain, maybe they're in a state of just all that matters at that point is love and strength and knowing Christ. And it's kind of sad to see that a lot of people, that they get so caught up in the ways of the enemy, the devil, of glorifying hookups, OnlyFans, stuff like that robs them of their joy, their soul. And it's not like God has these rules set in place to protect us. Excuse me. I just worked out, so sipped on this little vitamin water. And it's kind of warm in this room, surprisingly. But it's getting down in the 40s at night. A lot of the things that we do, that we take for granted, is our health. And a lot of these things, when we get down to the simplistic nature of God's love for us, there's no it's nothing to do with lust. It has nothing to do with pride, anger, envy. It has nothing to do with that at all. You think people in comas or people on their deathbed are thinking about lust, or people that have cancer? I mean, I like to look at stories and testimonies of these people to put things in perspective, to educate myself on these matters. I'm like, okay, my God, I'm your humble servant. I'm trying to do the best I can. Help me see things in a different perspective, different light, so I can learn to preach to other people about what I see and what I know. And I know that what really matters at the end of the day is just love. And I'm at a point now where I hate lust. I hate things that are of the world, because it's like people operate that way. Like, I'm sure we've all fallen that way, but it's like it robs you. It's like a war against your own soul. And when you partake in those acts, your soul feels so lifeless, so helpless. And it's just like there's no love in it. It's all coming from a selfish place of pride, of using someone else. It's not good. It's not. And just get into that childlike joy again, and this thinking about that scripture, you cannot see the kingdom of heaven unless you become like little children again. And it resonates with me so much. I'm striving to be like that more and more. You know, I was once like that for a little bit before the world kind of corrupts everyone, and it's happened. I just seeing the innocence of kids and just babies. At the end of the day, it's just love. And I think obviously sex is created for people to enjoy, and marriage, and to have kids, and to stuff like that. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of people will fall into traps of Satan and they're unaware. Get into the traps, they fall so low. And some of the most bravest people I've seen in my life are kids that were, or people that were diagnosed with these diseases, cancers, and they have the most beautiful spirit I've ever seen. Puts things in perspective for me. Becoming like little angels, little saints, and I learn from them, and watching them helps me grow as a person. Their spirit is something that I strive for myself, because a lot of times people that have a lot of these like illnesses, diseases, like, so not all the time, but sometimes, but their perspective and their positive outlook on life, their joy is just beautiful. And this kind of reminds me too, like kids that have died in hospitals, and when they were like 8, 9 years old. They don't grow up to have those, to think of like lust or anything like that. But one thing they do know is from their parents, and one thing they do know is love. And they do know that part of themselves and it's just that innocence that the Bible talks about. You can't see the kingdom of heaven unless you become like little children of good, like laughing, this full of joy, just so happy, and just going about things. There's no ego, there's no pride, there's no envy. It's just it's like what Jesus was speaking. It was out of a lot of people's comprehension. And it's something, I'm always trying to strive for. I'm a grown adult man, I liked there's a lot of things that I'm still human, no, I'm a perfect vessel, but just that love God has for us, that He has for all of us, that childlike innocence that Jesus requires, God requires from us. We try to think about that, really hone into that, and think about that. We've all experienced pain and suffering at some point in our lives, guys. I know we have. And it is painful. Like, Jesus will take that. He'll put a Band-Aid on it and He'll heal you. Seek Him. Count it all joy when you are when things aren't ideal for you, and when things aren't necessarily good in that way. But that childlike innocence, there's a lot to be said in that. Spirit. Because going back to what I said earlier, when I was kind of feeling like prideful, angry, like just stuff that's like of my flesh, like even regardless if I was right or whatever, like it just being prideful, just like feeling like ego in the gym of how big I was trying to get at one point like this. I felt like it was a spirit, but like truly at my core, that was not me. Like that spirit, because who Max Sowers is my soul has nothing to do really with things like in this vessel. I mean, it kind of is, but like it's your soul is different than your flesh. Of course, you gotta eat and drink water to survive and to be using our vessel and our body, taking care of it, loving others as Jesus loved us, having that kind of, treating our body like a temple. And people get caught up in these spirits of I know gym culture is super toxic. I know bar culture is toxic. A lot of things are just they take you away from your soul and like your spirit. And when we partake in more of these sinful behaviors, it's like we feel farther attached from God, because there is no love and lust. There is no happiness and pride. There is no peace and anger. And we gotta remember that a lot of these things are we think about people on their deathbed. They're never thinking about money, lust, pride. If they were, like, I feel sorry for those people. At the end of the day, it's just about love. There's no ego attached to God's love. It's just pure, beautiful, and it's just there. It's more magnificent. Really put things in perspective. When was the last time you remember when you're like a little kid, you're just climbing up a tree, or you're just like so full of that joy before the world kind of corrupted you, or it's that joy and that's who you are. Like your soul and spirit, like it's beautiful. Remember, I hope this message helps, guys. I know it will help you guys to think about these things. And it's not about us. I mean, it's about us, God using us, using our vessel to love, to bring others up, to strive to be the best we can, to be like saints, to be holy, for He is holy. Guys, I love you so much. Take care. Peace.